Hi, I would like to discuss the programming assignment at the end of Chapter 1. In my particular class, I've assigned Chapter 1, Problem 3, which is a temperature conversion program. To prepare you for being able to complete that program, let's go ahead and let's tinker around with problem number 2. Okay, and problem number 2 says, write a program that computes and displays a 15% tip when the price of a meal is input by the user. So we're given the fact that we have a meal price, and we're given the fact that we have a tip. Okay, let's go ahead and just move that down so that makes a little more sense. The meal price, since it could be dollars and cents, is going to be a floating point number, and the tip obviously is going to be a floating point number as well because it's a percentage. So the first order of business is to write the pseudocode. So the first thing we want to do is we want to declare price as a float. We need to tell the computing system somehow that we're going to store a floating point number, and we'll probably store it in a variable in pseudocode we decide to call price. Okay, some programs automatically do this for you, which we're going to see as we progress. We also want to make sure that the program knows that tip is a floating point number, so we would declare tip as a float. Then we want to prompt the user for the price of the meal, so we write out to the console, enter the price of the meal. Then we actually give the user the opportunity to input the price, to start typing in at the keyboard and us accepting what the price is. Then we're going to take our 0.15, which is 15% basically, and we're going to multiply it by the price, and we'll store it in a variable name whose name is tip. And then we're going to output some text that says the price of the meal is, and you'll see a little plus sign and then the word price. What that is its concatenation. We're taking a sentence, which is also known as a string, and we're going to, at the end of that string, we're going to put a value, okay, so that it's a little bit easier for the user to figure out what's going on. This is called friendly output, if you will. All right. Then we're going to literally send out to the user another message, write the amount of the tip, and then we'll go ahead and concatenate the actual value of the tip. So what I'm going to do is slide this out of my way and point out a couple things real quick so you're not too confused. All right, I am operating Windows on my Macintosh in a little emulation program that will allow me to emulate the Windows operating system. That's why mine looks just a little bit different. You'll see I have stuff up here at the top, which you don't have. Okay, so that's really no big deal. So let's go ahead and let's start out first of all by diving into Raptor. All right, if I come down here and I click on Start and I go to All Programs, I'm going to find after my install of Raptor that I now have a program called Raptor on the computer, and it is going to open up the programming interface for Raptor, the flowcharting interface for Raptor. Now you can see that Raptor has a ton of things available to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 total flowcharting symbols, 6 total flowcharting commands, if you will, which is an amazing thing. We can get everything done in the world in Raptor with just those 6 things for the most part. Okay, so what I want to do then is I want to show you how am I going to get this pseudocode in there. For example, how do I get declare prices of float? How do I get the user to put all that in there? Well, in the case of Raptor, we don't really have a declaration. What we do have is an input symbol. So if I click on the input symbol and then I go over here on this line and I click on that, it is going to allow me to do input. But as you see, it put a box there, but nothing's really happening. Well, to get something to happen, you just double click on that, and it's going to open up this window right here, which says a message, enter the prompt here. We're going to put our prompt in quotes, just like that. So I did 2 double quotes next to each other because this is a habit I have. I backspaced one so that I can get in between the 2, and I'm going to say my message was, let's see, enter the price of the meal. But I'm going to use colons there if that's all right with you. There's the prompt, and let's put in a variable, and I'm just going to go ahead and say price And I'm going to use all lowercase variables because typically when we input data or when we create a variable name, we usually use all lowercase letters, or we're going to start with the lowercase letter. This is how it is for most programming languages. And this is a convention. This is not an absolute. This does not mean that Raptor or any other programming language would fail to work if I decided to use an uppercase P. All right? So in terms of convention, I'm just going to stay with the status quo. So I'm going to say done, and now I have a little message there. It says enter the price of the meal, and it says get price. Let's see. Tip I already have, so I don't need to worry about that. So the next thing I need to do is make an assignment. Pretty straightforward, right? So I'm going to grab a hold of this. I'll come down here and click here, and then I double click it so that I can actually work on it, and it says set, and I'm going to say the word tip, TIP, set the variable tip to 0.15 times price. And as you see, it's giving me price down here, letting me know that the variable is there. So we'll pick done, and that's looking pretty good. So now that I've done that, I've inputted the price, I've set tip, I just need to write the output. So the first one that I want to write, okay, it's asking me to save now. This is something that Raptor does. It forces you to do saving. So I'll go ahead and do my save game. It wants to save it in document. I'm not sure that I want to put it there. So I guess I'll just call it that for right now, and I'll call it P2 for or Brodersen, because that's my last name, BRODERSEN _ assignment from chapter 1, and in this case, to make it easy for me, I'm going to say P2 so that I know that it was problem 2, and I'll pick save, and now I'm finally ready to go. I'll see what this is all about. There's the tip is that I did the assignment. Let me delete that because I don't need it, and I'm going to come down here, and I tap the delete key to make that happen. It's ready for output. So I come down here to output, click on that, and double click it. And the message that I want to give is going to be price of the meal, colon, and I forgot my quotes. So let me go back there and get them in there, otherwise this is going to have a bad day. So I want to see what the price of that meal is, and in order to do that I have to concatenate the price to this string, to this sentence, alright? And I just simply go plus price, just like that. And I pick done, but I also want to see the tip. So output is still highlighted, so I'm going to click here, and I'm going to say, double click, put in my quotes, AMOUNT, amount of the tip, put in a little space there, pop in my concatenation symbol, which is a plus, and then do tip. And as you see, it's been really easy for me to remember the variable names because I gave them names that make sense. Alright, so I'll pick that, and it looks like I'm ready to go. Let's run this thing and see if it works. Enter the price of the meal, I'll say $100. So it makes it easy for us to figure out what the tip is in our head. So it says here, the price of the meal is $100. The amount of the meal, or the amount of the tip, is $15. Worked like a champ.